Hi everyone, this is Anelise Borges speaking to you live from just outside the town Popasna. And as you can see, I'm right next to a military post. This is an observational post, and a couple of 100 meters rather from where I'm standing is the contact line of a conflict that has been going on here in the east of Ukraine for 8 years now. And as the French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in the Ukrainian capital earlier today for talks with the Ukrainian president, soldiers were very much active here on this front line of this conflict. Just to give you a brief explanation, for 8 years now, separatists have controlled territory to the right of where I'm standing right now. They have taken this territory in the Donbass region, backed by Russia. According to Ukrainian military assessment, there are some 35,000 rebels on that side. They are backed by Moscow. Ukrainian military intelligence also suggests that some Russian soldiers are on the other side as well. Moscow denies all this. This territory internationally is recognized as part of Ukraine, but these separatists want to break away from the country. And this conflict, as I said, has been going on since 2014 and has claimed the lives of over 14,000 people. It has displaced 1 million people, over 1 million people throughout the years. And it has taken its toll, of course, on the people here. The people who have been saying they don't really believe diplomacy can achieve anything in the near future. Many people very skeptical about whether or not Emmanuel Macron or any other world leader really can achieve much with handshakes and dinners. These soldiers don't really have much to talk about the diplomatic aspects. They are very professional, of course. They were here telling us how, yes, they hoped diplomacy could work, but that their reality is very different. This is a conflict that has been relatively calm, relatively quiet, they told me, over the last few weeks. But this is very much an ongoing conflict. As we were standing on a post to the right hand side of me, we heard some fire. This has been a war that's reached a stalemate to some extent, but skirmishes and shelling still occur. I've been speaking to a soldier here. He's 22 and he's been serving for the past 8 months. This is his second post, and he was telling me how he would actually have liked to be a cardiologist, but that right now this is his reality. He needs to defend his country. So very real when it comes to the consequences of this conflict. The situation here is very, very real. It's very different from the feeling we got in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, where even though, of course, people are concerned and some are watching the developments very closely, including the buildup of Russian troops on the other side of the border. Right here, this is a reality. This is a real conflict that they have been facing for the past 8 years. I'm happy to take questions if you guys have questions. Sorry, I'm struggling because I'm wearing gloves and it's quite hard to hold the phone. I'm not gonna take too many risks here, and I cannot really go too far to that side because, as I said, the contact line is less than 800 meters to my left, but I can show you just to this side. This used to be the entrance of the city of Popasna. This was a big roundabout where the city would be accessible from. As you can see, there is a sign there, a post that used to be the name of the town, and then that was the entrance. Now this area is actually off limits to most people. This is we came here with authorization from the soldiers, and there's a military checkpoint over there. If you're joining us just now, I'm in the east of Ukraine, where it's extremely cold, but more importantly, an ongoing conflict has been taking place for the past 8 years. And as you've been watching, if you're following the news lately, you know that the entire world has been watching Ukraine because of a recent buildup of Russian troops on the border with this country that has reignited fears of a full-fledged war. But for people in this region, in the Donbass, which is the east of Ukraine, the conflict has been ongoing for quite some time. I was shown some of the positions here that the soldiers have been stationed. This is just one of them. There are trenches to my left and right in front of me, an observational post. And this post is where soldiers are basically spending a lot of their time rotating and, of course, holding this territory from the possibility of the other side furthering their grip. The other side, when I say the other side, I mean these Russian-backed rebels that have controlled territory that they now call the Lugansk People's Republic and the Donetsk People's Republic. These are self-declared institutions, countries, and they want to break away from Ukraine. Ukraine claims that this is their territory, and obviously they've been trying to take it back. This conflict has been going on for 8 years, as I said. More than 14,000 people killed. Soldiers deployed here constantly for a long time, and it's taken quite a heavy toll on the people in this region. This side is so the post to that side over there. Basically, we're on a road, and that road leads to positions by the separatists, Russian-backed separatists that have been fighting against the Ukrainian army for 8 years now. Russia denies any involvement. Ukrainian military intelligence assesses that they have some 35,000 rebels fighting on the other side and 3,000 Russian soldiers. That is something that Moscow has not recognized. To this side, as I mentioned before, a former roundabout, the entrance of the city, that is now completely transformed, turned into a conflict zone. This is an ongoing conflict, one that has reached a stalemate recently, just because of the multiple attempts to resolve it. But we heard fire just a couple of moments ago, and soldiers say that there are skirmishes and shelling that still occurs. But as you can see, so this is another observational post, and it really gives you a sense of how different things can be, right? We were in Kyiv a couple of days ago. If you have been following us on the road, we've been in Kyiv, and the situation there, of course, is very different. People there, even though they have been following the situation, they have been following the latest developments, and this talk of an imminent war, or the possibility of an imminent war between Ukraine and Russia. Well, here, what we've been hearing from people is that the war has already started, and it's been going on for 8 years, and that the world has been oblivious to this fight, or at least that's what some people here told us today. They say the world has all but forgotten what's been happening here. And many people today told us that they don't feel as though diplomacy can really fix anything. Some people told us that they would like to see much more concrete help, military help. And we spoke to a reservist earlier today who said the only positive thing about this whole situation with regards to this angst over the possibility of an incursion. The only thing positive is the fact that there is more military aid coming. We've also heard from soldiers that military aid, so these weapons that the United States, the United Kingdom and other countries have been sending to Ukraine, they have not reached this part of the country. They have not reached this conflict yet. Some of the equipment being sent is actually quite sophisticated. Some of the soldiers will need training for that. I'm just trying to approach this side to show you one trench. I imagine you've been hearing about these trenches and you've been seeing these pictures. This is quite representative of what this conflict has become. It reminds us a lot about these trenches from the First World War and the Second World War. You've heard there what sounded like shelling not too far away, and not a lot of action on the part of the soldiers. That didn't seem to surprise anyone around here. Something that they are used to. This is not the first time we hear that. And of course there the sign that I was telling you, oops, sorry, kind of lost, the sign used to say Popasna, and how it used to be the sign that stood as the entrance, at the entrance of the city. A region very scarred by conflict, a real conflict, not a threat of a conflict or the possibility of a conflict. And this is what we've been hearing today, that while the entire world has been talking about the possibility of war, they've been living with the reality of war for quite some time. Bring them on camera. I'm not sure who you want me to bring on camera. Oh, sorry, I now understand. I can bring you guys on camera and invite you to live. Sorry, I thought those were messages. Happy to answer your questions if you have any. It's very hard for me to read my phone and walk at the same time. I know that sounds a bit pathetic, but it's just because it's so cold and it's been raining and the screen is all wet. Anyway, as I've been telling you, we've been traveling through the east of Ukraine after visiting the capital of this country. We are going to continue on the road for the next few days. If you have any questions, send us those questions, send them my way, or send them here on the post. I'll try to check that later and get back to you. I'll be coming up live often to try and answer your questions. But the idea really is to get a sense of what the situation is like on the ground. For now, as I said, a relatively calm situation, even though you heard there some shelling or gunfire. But for now, a stable conflict, but a very real conflict in the east of Ukraine, where a confrontation has been going on for 8 years. A confrontation that many people here hope will come to an end. Some of the soldiers told us, some of the residents told us that it is time for peace, but quite a few people here are very skeptical that this will be resolved anytime soon. Of course, it's really hard for them to imagine that after so many years of conflict. They say that they hope that diplomacy could yield results, but some here are skeptical that Russia will actually accept a diplomatic outcome. A lot of resentment towards the West that has all but forgotten this conflict, has all but forgotten this region and these people. And today, some view the diplomacy as a positive outcome, but one that they don't really trust. Of course, after so many years, they would like to see more concrete results sooner